Right now, Disney isn't doing too well over their latest live-action adaptation, with that of course being Snow White. But this video isn't about that Snow White iteration. Today we're going to take a look at the last time they tried to do something with the Snow White property. The Disney animated series, The 70. No, not the number 70 auto captions. The 7D, or for those who can't figure it out, the 7 Dwarfs. It just makes sense. And if you couldn't guess the premise, we do indeed follow the 7 dwarves, happy, bashful, dopey, sleepy, sneezy, doc, and grumpy, 30 years before the original story of 1937 Snow White in the 7 Dwarfs, as here they act as a group that gets called upon to solve problems or save the day for the queen and or the village of Jollywood in general. Instead of dealing with an evil queen like we'd see in the original film, the land is currently ruled by Queen Delightful. While she lives up to her name and means well, she isn't the most aware of the world around her, easily being tricked or pushed out of the way by evil forces, leading the 7D to be called in to come and deal with the problem at hand. Most times it's all thanks to the Glooms, a husband and wife witch and warlock duo who commit evil acts. Shocking, right? Well, evil in a pretty light sense, as the show doesn't get too dark or lean too much into where things could have gone in a setting like this. But we shall get into why that is exactly later on in the video. For a series that would end up having a huge amount of talent both in front of and behind the scenes, plus a large focus on music and comedy, what made the 7D kind of fall into a bit of obscurity in the middle of the 2010s. Let's take a look at Disney's The 7D, see what it's all about, and ultimately what happened to it. In 2014, we were introduced to a time before the events of the original Snow White movie, getting to see what is actually going on in Jollywood for the dwarves. While they all end up keeping their main traits that match their individual names, they all still have to work together and operate as a unit most times when it comes to helping out the queen, as they live life and sing songs with a bit of flair added in thanks to a whole bunch of people who worked on the Animaniacs, like Tom Ruegger, who would serve as the executive producer of the series, helping shape up exactly what it would be. For the look of the show and how it came together, that's thanks to Noah Z. Jones, the creator of shows like Fish Hooks and Pickle and Peanut, who helped redesign the look of the characters, trying to establish a new modern look for the 7 dwarves. Now, on top of all of that, who else could possibly be a part of the series that could elevate it even more? Well, it's none other than the one and only Tom Warburton, aka Mr. Warburton, who you most likely know from his work on Codename Kids Next Door. He would end up serving as the co-executive producer of the series. What I'm trying to say is that there are so many talented people behind the scenes helping put this show together. But if that doesn't excite you enough, we still have to look at all of the characters in the series and the voices behind them. Some of them may even shock you.
We'll be right back to the 7D. Now back to the 7D.
Here we have quite a large main cast. There are 7 of them after all, but each as distinct as the last thanks to the voice work behind them. Let's go through them. We have Kevin Michael Richardson as Happy, Billy West as Bashful, D. Bradley Baker as Dopey, Stephen Stanton as Sleepy, Scott Menville as Sneezy, Bill Farmer as Doc, and Maurice LaMarche as Grumpy. That's a pretty stacked cast any way you look at it, filled with veteran voices from almost any show you can think of. But it doesn't stop there. For Queen Delightful, you have Lee Allen Baker, with Lord Starchbottom being voiced by Paul Rugg. And for the main bad guys, you have Jess Harnell voicing Grim Gloom, and Kelly Osbourne voicing Hildy Gloom. Now, what I really love is that the dwarves themselves all have such a nice bit of banter between one another. Sure, they end up really playing into their signature traits of, for example, Grumpy being the grumpy one, but it's how they all speak to one another that comes off very Three Stooges-like, and I really like that. It's probably one of the most entertaining aspects in the series, really showing off how their personalities can both be played one note and layered depending on who they are speaking to. It's a cluster of familiar voices all pulling a lot of the weight for the excitement of the series, where the stories and adventures themselves may fall a bit flat. I also would like to highlight the performances by Jess and Kelly, as their characters feel like that perfectly annoying mushy-gushy in-love couple that doesn't care who sees them in public, while also doing their evil business as partners, flipping between infatuation and sass fairly quickly. This is also Kelly Osbourne's first voice acting role, and she honestly does a great job at playing a villain. Plus, they ended up having her real-life parents, Sharon and Ozzy Osbourne, come in to play Hildy's parents in the show, and that's pretty cool. The only thing that doesn't work with the characters of the Glooms is that they just get less and less interesting the more we end up dealing with them as the main reoccurring issue in the series. Now, from the start, the series was already being advertised in articles for who is attached to the series, as they would have other celebrities like Jay Leno and Whoopi Goldberg voicing the Crystal Ball and Magic Mirror respectively. The series would premiere on July 7th, 2014, and and would catch on at first truly thanks to the characters themselves, but less so for the adventures the dwarves would usually have to go on. While they are less exciting than I would have liked, the series has another card or gem up their sleeve to make up for that, and that's the music. Now, I wouldn't say that the songs are better or more memorable than some from the likes of Phineas and Ferb, but with the sheer amount here, you'll be bound to enjoy or feel the upbeat nature of most of them. I mean, coming from so many who were a part of the Animaniacs, and who were songwriters on the show, as well as the talents of Perry Grip of the band Nerf Herder, you definitely get a solid group of people who know how to work well in terms of creating catchy, fun, and oftentimes silly music. The series had so much going for it that seemed like a massive win and a no-brainer for the network to keep supporting, as it held a fairly high premiere rating, and the Endless Runner game that released for it, the 7D Mine Train, was downloaded by apparently over 1 million individuals. But sadly, the series would go on to only have one more season with a cut amount of episodes, and a bit of the gusto taken out of the excitement for more of the show. The cancellation behind the scenes would be official before the second season would really be premiering, but there was no official word of this or for the reasoning behind it all. Why was the series canceled? Well, we don't really know. But after a 2-season run with 44 episodes or 87 segments, the series, the 7D, came to an end. While there was never an official statement from Disney about the series coming to an end, there was no season 3 in store for the future. Thanks to Tom Warburton and his official blog Warburton Labs, he posted on April 25th, 2016, which oddly enough is 9 years ago today that this video was posted on, "It's a wrap 7D style. Just before the new year, we were told that the 7D was going to finish up after its second season. And once a production starts winding down, there's a slow and steady procession of folks leaving. First, it's the writers, then the storyboard artists, then design starts disappearing, and some production folk, etc, etc, etc. Eventually, all that remains is a handful of post-production ninjas, like me, who ride the train until the bitter end. In our case, that's September 2016. But it'd be silly to have the wrap party then. Most people will be on new and exciting projects, and not even remember working on the 7D. So last Wednesday, production manager Jennifer Nelson and her merry band of production elves threw a killer party. Along with this pretty emotional post were a bunch of pictures and even some footage from the wrap party of the series. So while there would be no season 3 and the rest of season 2 still needed to be finished up, there was a lot of love from everyone who worked on the show in general towards one another that can be seen and felt from this behind the scenes look. One thing that I love about Mr. Warburton is the way that he is able to vividly paint a picture. You can feel that bittersweet tone in just something as simple as a blog post and see how much he cares about every aspect of the industry. I kinda just love how his mind works. And also, can someone greenlight the Galactic Kids Next Door already? If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out this video here. Originally, the show turned out to be a bit of a hit for the network ratings-wise, but not long after, Star vs. the Forces of Evil came around and became the network's bigger star. I think that really put the 7D into a more pushed-aside category, ultimately leading to it not making it past its second season, and when looking back, making it easily forgotten. Not because it was bad or anything, but because of the obscurity it was pushed into. But after experiencing the show, I can't help but feel that it just needed something a bit more that could have helped it succeed when it comes to ratings. Something that could pull in constant viewership and overall just make the show itself more memorable than really just being known for having a lot of big and talented names involved in the production.
We'll be right back to the 7D. Now back to the 7D.
Now, what could have saved the 7D? Was there anything that could have been done to have helped make this series work a bit better and keep an audience invested? Well, for me at least, the biggest thing here would have been to allow the series to have picked its initial focus better. Originally, in the production of things, the 7D was being made with Disney Junior in mind, aiming to be for younger audiences and play within the world of Snow White in a fun, not super serious new way. Somewhere during the series being developed, there was a change of plans, tweaking the show to fit for an all-ages audience, as the series would eventually then be released on Disney XD, which is kind of a weird fit in general in comparison to the other shows around it. Disney XD was really this more action-oriented slice of Disney than anything else, having shows like Motor City, Tron Uprising, Star Wars Rebels, and then eventually having what may have ultimately pushed it away, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, all of them surrounding the run of the 7D, just to name a few here. Sure, while the series can be classified as a legacy IP IP to give it some more connection to the viewers, more so than some other shows. Its focus on episodic comedy versus the majority of what else was on and around it on the network at the same time easily hid the series away like the gems in the series the 7D find. That doesn't mean it's a hidden gem though. What really could have helped the show a lot more is if it offered something interesting for the world building side of things. If we are going to explore the Jollywood area and truly build out a lived-in world, one that we adventure out into constantly, we just needed more of it to explore rather than it just being a concept. A setting that houses these fun adventures but lacks in personality or true exploration of the surrounding areas. With the veteran talent here stemming from the people behind the Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain, and other shows of those types from that era, there are clearly some really great things here that you can pick up on. It's definitely noticeable in the comedy side of things as well as the musical side of things. But where those other shows succeed in, where the 7D falters in, is making you invested in the distinct situations or plots that are going on. While of course it's really never about the mission or the journey, they should still play some significant amount of role that is interesting enough thanks to the characters involved in it. But really here, it's the characters going from point A to point B, and maybe they have something to do, maybe they don't, but either way, there was no investment into what was really going on. You're either here for the characters, or you're really not, because there's nothing else there. The show just feels like it's missing something in this aspect, and maybe that kind of relates to my next point here. As with the show originally being aimed at a younger audience, that was then tweaked to fit a mold for everyone. So beyond all of that, what feels the most present, or lack thereof, is the 90s pushing of the envelope that comes from the people who worked on the series. Now, hold on, this isn't the, oh, back in the 90s things were like this, or in the 90s things were better. No, I'm not saying that at all. This is specifically based on the talent working on the shows I mentioned, like Animaniacs and the surrounding series, where you'd see how much was crammed into every aspect of those series, and then go back now and see how much you missed and can appreciate at any age. Here's where it's a me thing and not a we thing though. If you didn't know who was behind the series or never knew about or cared about these older shows, then you wouldn't be expecting anything. Heck, you shouldn't. I don't think it's always fair to try and put the feelings of other bits of work into another. Sure, there are veteran creators working on the 7D, but the series was made for a different network, originally for a different demographic, and nearly 2 decades beyond the other programs we'd know the creators for. So in saying all of this, the 7D isn't going to showcase what you may have enjoyed from these creators previously, and that's okay. At the end of the day, the 7D has its own set of highlights that make it something that can work for what it was. A colorful, silly show set within a familiar legacy Disney universe that doesn't do anything too crazy to be held in high regards, or anything too awful to be hated on a decade since it happened. In fact, with a new live-action Snow White movie really being something, the 7D stands out a bit more as this potentially underrated series that will make you enjoy the fact that at least they were trying to do something new and different within the Snow White universe. While I don't think you'll be blown away by the 7D, I do think it's an easy and chill watch that benefits from having an incredible cast of voice actors, veteran talent behind the scenes in various roles, and a pleasant, bright, and welcoming color palette. I know when it comes to this type of art style that was very present at the time, that people would be so easy to dismiss this whole production, but the show still has enough charm in some areas where I still think you can overlook that aspect if you truly don't like it. And honestly, it really reminds me more of something from Teacher's Pet, specifically with the designs of Queen Delightful and Lord Starchbottom. Disney's The 7D isn't an incredible must-watch series, but if you do decide to give it a chance, you may end up enjoying more of it than you thought. When it comes to Disney and how they handle legacy properties, I think it's crucial that shows like this, ideas that play within a well-known established IP, get the chance to be made over yet another live-action film, and by that I mean live-action remake, that either recreates the original beat for beat or changes random things here and there, but at the end of the day is still the same, or in most cases, a worse film. More risks should be taken, and I wouldn't even consider something like this a big risk in any way, shape, or form, but it's something that I'd rather see greenlit by Disney going forward, and now more than ever, and I think the live-action Snow White has really helped them cool off with how they deal with these legacy properties, and time will tell. Time will only tell. But how do you feel? Did you ever get the chance to check out the 7D? And if so, what were your thoughts on it? As well as what do you want to see from Disney in regards to their older properties that they have? Something that plays around within a familiar world like the 7D? Or more live action remakes? Let me know all of that and more in the comments below. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like on this video and to subscribe for more videos like this coming soon. But until then, later.